Good afternoon again, and welcome to our discussion. It's going to be pretty interesting, youth-filled and youthful conversation about a project that was going on and still continues in the Philadelphia area as part of a circuit program. And at the end, we have a really, really awesome discussion about a new program that the new school, the Youth Bike Summit, and Rails to Trails are partnering on for a pre-college program that you might have heard about before. So my name is Akram Abed, and I am the manager of the Camden Metro region for Rails to Trails Conservancy. So at the very beginning, I just want to talk about what the cycle program is. I want to talk about the web program, which is our watershed education by bicycles, and hear some youth stories. And then we'll talk about the Circuit Youth Engagement Committee and end with the pre-college program. And these, as we go through the presentation, I hope you'll come to appreciate how every one of these have sort of dovetailed and grown into another project that has really given opportunities to the youth in the area. So why Camden? This is actually a Google map of the area. You see Philadelphia on the other side of the river. That blue is the Delaware River, and then here's Camden. What you see on Philadelphia's side is a lot of green. Those are bike trails and bike lanes and bike paths. Camden, sort of lacking, but where we do have them are all around the rivers, right? The Cooper River, lots of educational, recreational opportunities. And then in the city, you don't see very much. You see just two snippets of rail trail that aren't even connected yet, but we're working on it. So this is why RTC has really chosen to work on Camden. Camden is the link between South Jersey and Philadelphia for pedestrians and bicyclists. We're really trying to bridge the two together using the Ben Franklin Bridge and the pedestrian walkway. So the Camden Youth Cycling, Learning, and Exercising. It stands for CYCLE is the acronym, and it started in 2010 as a cycling education program. And we partnered with many different groups at the very beginning. With PAL, we partnered with schools, and we entered into the schools to really bring the youth in as a summer program. But in 2012, the focus shifted from just learning how to ride a bike to really learning how to ride a bike to somewhere the kids would want to go to, right? That's what really we saw was the main aspect. It wasn't whether they could ride down the street and like make left-hand turn or right-hand turn signals. It wasn't that they learned how to shift or do a power stop. It was that they got to go somewhere really, really cool. So the focus shifted to riding somewhere really, really cool. And we had purposeful destinations, whether it was parks to different parts of the parks in different cities or in different neighborhoods, or even across the river into Philadelphia, which, as you might hear later, is really awesome for the kids to experience, to pedal on their own to the Liberty Bell, right? Whereas before they had to take a bus maybe once a year as a school trip. Another thing to really understand about Camden is it's a city of neighborhoods. Camden is created, and every student who lives in a certain neighborhood might not venture to another neighborhood to go explore. They might not go from a neighborhood with no parks to another neighborhood with a water fountain that they could ride their bike through. And so this program really tried to bring the city together for them, to make it smaller, to make it easier to access, to really bring down those arbitrary lines that they had formed in their mind for no reason. So we give them bicycle safety instruction. I think this is really, really important. Before you get a group of 15 kids riding down the street, they should probably learn how to ride between tennis balls to keep a straight line, right? Learn how to brake, to give them the confidence, really, to give them the confidence to be able to go out on the ride And when they see a light turn red, they don't panic and try to jump off the bike. They tap the brakes with their hands. This is cycling in Camden. It's probably what you might imagine cycling in Camden to be. Riding on streets with no bike lanes, but Camden got its first bike paths quite recently. And it wasn't because everyone's riding and everyone's asking for bike lanes. It's because a group of people have come together and realized that sometimes you have to create the infrastructure first. And I think that's one of the chicken or the egg stories, right? But in Camden, we're definitely getting some bike lanes first. The watershed education by bike has come from that. The bike lanes are part of a grander vision that I'll talk about later on called the circuit. But one of the things that we want to educate kids is that trails can teach them about the waterways. We can access different things that they normally might ride by or not even see through the trees. But on a bike, they can stop and walk. They can bike to a certain destination, and they can go fishing where they normally would never have gone, or where it would be too far to walk, for instance. The watershed education by bike explores urban trails that are built on those greenways, right? Can you go to the next slide? So all these trails along the waterways, we're trying to explore them. We're bringing the community to them. You know, there's this thought that if you build it, they'll come. We hear that often. But in a lot of neighborhoods, especially in the inner city, maybe they'll come. Before a trail was created, it was an empty corridor where positive things never happened and negative things happened often. So when you build a trail, those memories of the wrongdoings still exist and attach themselves now to the trail. So families don't wander onto a trail. They just see an open path, but they walk right by it, right? Continuing on the street. So we really wanted the community to be involved. You can go back, actually. We wanted to reach families through young people. Sometimes it's hard for families to come out and ride with you. Mothers and fathers have jobs and they might not be able to make it out to a ride. But what they will do is listen to their kids. They'll listen to their kids when their kids come home and talk about how exciting it was to go riding. And they'll learn from that. And then later on, when we invite them for a community ride, they're willing to come out because they've heard how awesome it is. And you'll hear these stories through our kids today. The William Penn Foundation actually funded the web program, and our partner was the YMCA. So the YMCA actually runs this program as an after-school program and as a summer program. It was very important for Rails to Trails to find community partners to carry on these programs, to build and create the future stewards of our communities. And you can go to the next one. So that's why watershed education. This is just a picture. You might think the picture is out of focus because you really can't see the robin's egg. But what's incredible about all these trips that we went on wasn't what we saw. It was the kids' reactions to what we saw. So this is a robin's egg that we found by the river. And this young gentleman had never seen a robin's egg. And he didn't realize what a robin's egg was and what kind of bird it turned out to be, the blue egg to the red-breasted robin. So his face is in focus here. You can the next one. Like, to get them down to the river, instead of seeing a dirty river full of trash, they now see a river full of life, or potential life, right? So after this picture was taken, they picked up a little oyster or clam and looked at it and didn't even realize what it was until I told them that there was something alive in it. And they put it back in, but it was really interesting to see their faces as they made the connection between this waterway that's literally by their homes that they never go to, right? They never wander to. And to see them enjoy that river. Camden has all those rivers on it, and you'll never see any kayakers or canoers on it, right? And so we're trying to bring the community to those rivers. We're trying to have them use it as a resource. You can go to the next one. So here we have, those are actually the Cove Road boardwalks. Anytime I mention the Cove Road boardwalk to anyone who lives in the community or even surrounding communities, they don't know what it is. The Cove Road boardwalks go from a road and into the wetlands. And then you have this large area. You could see the Philadelphia skyline in the background there. But no one uses it except to tag it up. And so to ride the kids there and to have them be among and in the wetlands, to look down and see turtles, to pick up a cattail and like see what that is. They read about it all the time, but they never have any hands-on education. They never see it, they never feel it, they never touch it. And then it really connects when they do all of that. And the only way we could do that is to ride our bikes there, right? It's too far to walk. It's not near public transportation, but it's a trip, and they enjoy it when they get there. And that's why we use bikes. This was actually the mud flats. Up there, you can see the Ben Franklin Bridge. And this is in a North Camden neighborhood. This is actually off of what I like to call the jail trail. Camden had a state penitentiary for about 20 or so years, and they finally tore it down a few years ago. The old guard road went all around the prison site, and it's like the perfect trail, right? But no one uses it because no one knows you're allowed to. So I actually take the kids there quite often, and it's the only stretch of Camden waterfront that isn't developed with a barrier, and it doesn't have a port or buildings. So you can easily just walk down into the mud flats. So here we went barefoot and went and explored what the mud flats really were. You can go to the next story. So with me explaining what the web is, I'd like to turn it over to Jonathan, or Taylor actually. Woo! Yeah. So this is Taylor, and this is the first time they're public speaking. So if we can go a little easy on them, but I think they're gonna do a marvelous job. So Taylor. Would you like to stand, or would you like to stay seated? You want to stand right here? All right, come on. All right. You can start off with your name.
My name is Taylor Chambers. I'm 13. I'm 13. I want to talk about the bike program with my family. After the bike program, me and my family started riding. First, it was with my mom. She started riding on the Finken Bridge.
On the what bridge?
On the Finken Bridge.
Yeah, the Ben Franklin.
That was her first time. She was crying like a baby.
She might actually see this.
Sure enough.
Why is she crying?
Because she was nervous and it was too high. And she was sweating and she didn't know how to get up to the mountain, like almost to the mountain. Then I tell her to change her gears. I tell her how to fix her tires. In fact, at that, my little nephew, we start riding with my dad up there almost every Friday. We ride there, and we don't ride there no more because it's snowing. It's too cold outside, and my brother don't want to go. And that's it.
Yeah. How did you convince your mother to start riding with you? Is it because she saw? I mean, what convinced her to start riding with you? To the bridge, especially.
She started riding with me because one day she was in the bad mood, and I came home from school, and she said, "What did you learn?" I said, "I learned about bikes, like all the time. I learned about bikes." Then she said, "Oh, you want to go riding?" I said, "Okay. Where you want to go?" She said, "To the bridge." I said, "Okay. You sure?" She said, "Yes." that
Yeah.
she went.
Right.
That was her first time.
And you taught her how to shift gears, like everything that you were learning in a program, you were sharing with your mom
Yes.
and your family. Okay. And just one last question: Did you feel like you changed at all from after the program?
Yes.
Do you want to tell us more about that or not really? Okay. All right. Does anyone have questions for Taylor?
What does it feel like when you and your family go out for a ride?
So Brian asked, what does it feel like when you and your family go out for a ride? You can answer that.
It felt like we was free, other people, and people don't get almost get on our nerves, almost. Because my mom, one day, I told you somebody was getting on her nerves at work. Because at summer she go to a camp to help people with her homework, and they need help with homework or reading.
Right. So you felt relaxed? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Yes.
Was there any resistance to like wearing a helmet with your mom?
Yes.
Did we get that from the last stream?
Yeah, so Mustafa asked if there was any resistance to helmet wearing by Taylor's mother or other family members, and I guess your mom didn't want to wear it?
She did.
Oh, she did. So no resistance. Okay. And is that Mike?
Mike, yeah. So I might be confused. Did you choose to get in the program, or did you have no choice? The program was part of the curriculum, and if you chose to get in, why did you choose?
So the question is, did you choose to become part of the program? And if you did choose, why did you choose to be a part of the program?
I choose to get in the program because I want to know how to ride a bike and teach my family, and I love riding bikes. And we can't do wheelie no more. That I still want to go to a bike. I really don't care about doing wheelie. I care about bikes and about my family.
Yeah, I stopped them from doing wheelies pretty early on. It was the part of the bike safety. And next we have a story about from Jonathan, right? So Jonathan. All right, here you go.
Third.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Cordona, and I'm 12 years old, turning 13 in 2 days.
Nice. Nice.
The biking program was a very fun experience because I got to learn about bikes, and I really didn't ride a bike that much because my mom was kind of overprotective, and she didn't let me ride around the block. So when I started, I like the biking program because it makes me feel free to ride around and ride with my friends because I really don't go out that much. So I have fun and ride. And one of my best moments were when I rode my Rocky moment. I rode all the way to the art museum. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So how far do you think the art museum was from your school?
I think about 10 miles.
Okay.
And we rode over the Ben Franklin Bridge, and it was very exhausting, but changing my gears and just keep pedaling and never giving up was in my head for the whole ride. And I like the Rocky moment because it made me feel great because while riding to the stairs, I saw a lot of things. Like I saw the statue, I saw different things like
So you saw like a lot of trails, right?
I know I just did. Okay. I went on different trails going to the Rocky Balboa statue. And I actually fell on the steps.
While running up?
Yes.
Okay.
And Oh yeah, I got a lot of exercise from riding. I lost about 10 pounds doing this. And I felt great because it's hard to lose weight with a big person like me. And that made me feel real great. So that's my the bike program. Second.
So I wanted to ask Jonathan. Jonathan, do you think like your next Rocky moment is riding your mountain bike down the stairs, or do you think you'll just stay running up?
Running up.
Okay.
So has your mom, even though she told me to protect you like your own child today, has she loosened up with letting you go out more on your own, or are your rides still mostly with Akram and the other riders from the group?
So the question from Brian was, after going through the program, has your mom allowed you to ride on your own, or is she still pretty protective so that you're only going out with the cycle program?
Still pretty protective.
Yeah.
I can't ride my bike because of the weather, so. But it was fun.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot.
Yeah. So I actually met Jonathan's mom recently, and she was telling me about his stories, right? So Jonathan, how does your mom react after you like tell her all these stories of the places you've been?
She was very excited because she was very excited because that she felt great. It felt great because she wants me to have fun, and she doesn't want me to stay in the house all day, like just playing video games, wasting my life on video games. So that when I started riding, it was really good because I was just a game freak. So I'm very active. I'm starting football this summer. I like baseball.
Yeah. And does your mom enjoy your stories?
Yes, a lot.
After biking? She does.
Yes. I tell her everything and she gets really excited. And she's like, yay!
Yes.
In relation to talking about kind of like the safety and how your mom feels about riding, has your opinion of the safety of riding bikes, has that changed, or were you always into it?
So the question is, has your opinion about whether bicycling is safer or not, has that changed since you've gone through the program?
Yes, because when I would ride up and down the block, I wouldn't really wear my helmet or my like shin guards or knee pads because I would just try to ride fast. But one day I had fell off and hurt my knee. So after the biking, like the rules and the safety, how to wear the helmet, because I saw one of my friends crack his skull because he wasn't wearing a helmet. And after that day, I've always worn a helmet and knee pads and shin guards to keep myself safe.
Yeah, and like after riding in the streets with us in the program, do you think that biking in the city is really unsafe, or do you think it can be done safely?
It can be done safely because, for example, in Philadelphia, they have the bike lanes, and in Camden, that even if we don't have a bike lane, we still all stay together in one line and make sure that no one goes off in different pattern. We just stay in one line, and we try to be as close as far away from in the middle of the street as we can when cars are passing.
Okay.
There's a question from the live stream.
Oh, question from the live stream.
Yeah, we're live.
So Ricky from Bike Works Seattle wants to know, did you have Eye of the Tiger in your head while you were running up the stairs?
Yes, I did. Because I was thinking it, but when I fell, it was like a flashback of when I fell off the bike. And I was like, oh man, because I really wanted to have that moment. Because my mom, when I told her that, she got very excited. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I would have never made it there. I would have got tired at the halfway of the bridge." And I was like, I did pretty good. And
You did.
she had said, "Well, I love you, and you did very good." Well, my mom said that to me.
That's awesome. Are there any more questions for Jonathan before I move on to Treajure? Yes.
I just have one. So you mentioned that you like to ride with your friends. Have you convinced any of them to do the program?
So the question is, you mentioned you have enjoyed riding with your friends. Have you convinced any of them to join the program?
Yes, I convinced my 6th grade friends, like my friend Alberto. If you're watching this, hi Alberto, and thanks for coming, and coming to the program. And I convinced a lot of people, and they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, so the program has continued in the school, in every school that we start the program, we sort of continue on in some way by finding different partners to continue on those relationships. Yes, Brian?
I have a question. So after the biking class is over,
Mhm.
the program, is there a way that the program supports the kids to be able to continue to ride?
Yeah. The question is, after the biking program is over, is there a way for the kids to continue to ride? And that's actually a very good question. And in Camden specifically, we've been able to find other partners to sort of start talking about cycling programs for not only the community, right, to bring cycling outside of this, but also programs for older youth. Especially as they grow into the program, they can grow into other programs. So yes, we're continuing to find ways, and I think we'll move on to Treajure now.
Hi, my name is Treajure Morton, and I'm 12. I am a member of the web program in Camden, New Jersey. I learned to always wear my helmet to avoid head injuries and how to communicate with other bikers by using hand signals. I decided to join the bike program because it sounded interesting and I like riding. My best moment with the bike program was when we went to the Delaware River and we was in the mud and we was walking on the logs and I thought I was gonna fall, so I got scared. And Coach Crumb had held my hand, and that was it.
Had you ever gone to and into the river
No.
before? No? And how far away from the river do you live?
Not too far.
Like miles or blocks or?
Blocks.
Blocks. And okay. So that's the picture of us in the mud flats, right?
Yeah.
Is that all you had, Treajure?
Questions for you.
Okay. Yeah, you can stand there and take some. Are there any questions for Treajure? Yes, Gary.
When you went to some of the other neighborhoods in Camden other than yours, what are some of the interesting things you found?
So the question was, when you traveled by bike to other neighborhoods in your city, what were some interesting things that you saw?
Like when we went over Philly?
Or in Camden, right? Do you remember what Farnham Park is with the water fountain? No? Are you blanking? So do you know that blue fountain, right? That was
Yes.
water. That was Farnham Park. Okay. Did you find while riding your bike? Was there anything interesting that you saw in other parts of the city that you might not have seen in your neighborhood, or you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, or that's different than my neighborhood?
No, not really.
No, not really. Okay. Treajure is a little also shy. Any more questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So you seem very shy. So has biking helped your confidence in other ways?
So the question is, has biking helped you become more confident?
Yes.
In what way?
In what way?
I'm not scared to ride over the bridge no more.
Yeah. In answer to your question, a lot of the other students generally find the parks really interesting, especially when they might not have certain parks or might not have certain equipment in their parks. So I was trying to jog her memory with the blue water fountain, but it's this water feature in a park that you could ride through and get wet. So a lot of times, especially during the summer, that was that was the treat. It was like you behaved and like you rode in a straight line and you didn't complain too much and you ate your sandwich without telling me that you were allergic to peanut butter or bread. Then we were going to ride through the water fountain. So that was interesting. Sometimes it was wider streets. It was like wider like boulevards that were just really intriguing for the kids because a lot of their roads in some neighborhoods were very like narrow, without a lot of grassy areas in between. Sometimes it was the mere fact that like they knew how to get to a school that they had been to but only taken a car, and now they were riding through there. Or even Harley Cemetery, which is a really well-known cemetery in Camden, but that was the first time kids had actually gone past the iron gates and ridden through this idyllic park setting, with headstones sprinkled throughout. Yeah. Any more questions for Treasure before we move on? No? All right. Janaeyah Morton, also known as Nene. And Janaeyah is extremely shy. This is her first public speaking engagement. So whenever she's ready, if she would like to share a story. Not only does Nene also doesn't like taking pictures, as you can see. This is the best shot I have of Nene throughout the entire program. Usually it's the back of her head. She's much quicker than my phone takes pictures. You're good, Nene. You can start off with your name. All right.
Hi, my name is.
It's okay. Do you want to do this, or do you want us to come back to you? Okay. Well, we'll come back to Nene's story. But this is really interesting. Underneath those hands, Nene is actually smiling, right? So that's the question that I've been sort of racking my head with. Is sort of, how do we go from all these smiles, all these stories, all these like experiences that the kids have? How do we go from one school in one city, or maybe even a couple schools in a couple cities? How do we go from all of that? How do we hear these stories more often? How do we allow these stories to impact our neighborhoods, our communities, our infrastructure? That's the question that we've been working on. And so the platform actually came not because we designed it, but because we found a way to fit in. So this is the circuit. And the circuit is the regional trail network of Philadelphia. It's Philadelphia's regional trail network. And you see this map. There are 9 counties. You see a bunch of different lines. The dark green lines are trails that are already built, right? The trails, and here you see like tiny little connections, dotted green lines. These are like planned. They're in progress. They're being built currently. And the blue lines are the planned trails. And so this is an incredible project that has brought together many different organizations from multiple like disciplines, right? So it's not just trail groups. It's not just planners. It's not just government programs. It's the government. It's the local MPO. It's the planning organizations. It's the Bicycle Coalition. It's groups who are serving youth, right? So it's every single facet of advocacy, and many different facets of infrastructure building and community building. When completed, the circuit would comprise of at least 750 miles of trails. The vision is that you could leave your house and head north, south, east, or west, get onto a trail or a bike path, and go riding for an entire day and then come back home all on a trail network, right? So that's the vision. That's the circuit. As part of the circuit, there are multiple different committees trying to engage even more sectors that would benefit from trails. The health community, for instance. I currently co-chair the Youth Engagement Committee. And the Youth Engagement Committee is reaching out to youth-serving organizations. We're trying to find those students the next and the future stewards of the trail networks. But we're also trying to find those students who are currently using the trails. And we're trying to bring them together. We're trying to help organizations create programs that fit their goals and their missions. So for instance, there's in Camden, there's a Boys and Girls Club that sits adjacent to a trail, but the trail is never used for their programming, right? So the Youth Engagement Committee not only tries to bring youth together, but tries to create even more opportunities for youth on trails. And we're not doing this just with adults talking to adults. One of the big components, and this will lead to us talking with Jane here, one of the biggest components is using youth to engage other youth. And so this is a huge process that we're like actively working on. And one of the reasons that we're having this session at the Youth Bike Summit. And we want to open it up for discussion after Jane explains the pre-college program. We want to open it up to discussion. How do we engage youth in these bicycling programs? How do we get them to share their thoughts and ideas and really, really feel like they have a voice in what's going to be created, right? Trails do not pop up in days. They take decades, years at the very least. And so youth now are going to be the adults who see it created. So the pre-college credit program is an awesome program that's being piloted this year for the first time. And it's being done with Jane Pirone. And I'm going to let Jane do most of the talking here.
Cool. Am I live? It's scary to talk in front of people, isn't it? You guys did a great job. Really great job. I'm very impressed. You're all very brave. So I'd like to just give a quick little background, just so you all have a context of this thing we're going to talk about. So as some of you might know, I'm a assistant professor here at Parsons. And Parsons, so where this conference is taking place, is part of New School. It's actually half of the New School. So Parsons is one of the largest design schools in the country. It's 50% of the New School. And anyway, part of what we think about, both as educators and designers, is how design plays a central role in social innovation. So in other words, we make the world that we live in, and there's in certain, with the word design, there's a certain implication, or it's implied that we're actually intentionally making this world that we live in. So we sometimes want to ask ourselves, is this really the world we want to live in, right? Is this what we came up with? So this idea of not only making things, but thinking about things critically as we make them, so we understand the implications that we have in how we make this world, and then how we get made by the world we make. And that it's very much a, give and take process. And so my role as an educator here, and also as a designer, has been not only about thinking about the methods we use to design, but thinking about how we educate designers. And when I say designer, I don't mean necessarily the big D professional designer. I mean that everybody that's on the planet is in fact a designer. So how do we think about how we design our world? And so with the Youth Bike Summit and the work that I'm doing with Recycle a Bicycle, a lot of the question is, how do we design with more voices in the design process so that a lot of design happens in what I would call a vacuum? So it happens without the right way of being informed. And so we believe very strongly about design and the stuff we make being much better if more people are involved in the process of making, and that more diverse voices get in the process of what should be made, how it should be made, who it's for, and if it's for somebody, that that person should actually be an agent in that change or in that making. So by engaging with youth, we're also able to bridge this wonderful opportunity between youth programs and higher education, and think about design as a very viable higher ed option. And even if you don't go into design, having a design background would be very valuable in any degree program you would pursue. So so that's kind of the context, and I'm sorry that was a little long-winded. But anyway, so as we've been developing the programming for the Youth Bike Summit this year, a lot of great ideas had come up in the visioning sessions, and also in this idea of adding the college and universities into the Youth Bike Summit last year. And through that, we are constantly talking about, well, how do we bridge together younger people with college-age people, with older people, and it's that intergenerational exchange. So Mary, Tom, and Akram from Rails to Trails have started to talk with us about this, and for the past, I would say, couple months now, we've been developing this idea, and we're able to really launch this program as a pilot for this first youth bike, or this first time at this Youth Bike Summit, where not only do the students that are participating get a tuition-free credit for college, they actually start to get to engage in this dialogue over the course of a semester in mentorship with faculty, and start thinking about the work, the stuff that they've learned here, and how that then connects back to their own local communities, and then bringing that information to their local communities back to the dialogue that's overall with their peers in this program. And it's all on an online platform called Canvas. And this allows for peer sharing, peer exchange, peer learning to go on beyond the summit. So this wonderful thing that happens on this weekend doesn't just happen on this weekend. So that's some of the nature of what we're starting to explore with this, and what we're hoping to do is open it up as a platform for conversation so that we get more voices in this dialogue as well.
Yeah. No,
By the way,
I
all
was.
of that was improvised. We hadn't exactly planned what we were going to say, so he didn't know that was coming.
Oh no, I was wondering if I'd like to pass the microphone around. I think that would be a great way to do this.
Yeah.
Just to take all of your questions, whether it's about the pre-college program or even how to create, sustain, and find partnerships with others to create biking programs that are sustained. I don't know all the answers, which is why this is a discussion
And the
between us
questions
all.
are always more interesting than the answers, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna hand this microphone off to the first hand. I'm just gonna choose one.
Do you want a mic? Maybe he wants to talk.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is a question to all the youth panelists. Would you do the program again if it started like tomorrow?
Yes. I would do it again because I just want to feel this experience one more time, to just feel the exhilaration in it and just the fun experience of it.
Yes, the same thing about him, and I want to do it again because I want my family to do it with me this time, and they can't. And they can't. I want my brother and my sister to do it with me.
Treasurer Nene, do you have a response?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Wait.
Oh.
Alright, I got a question for her. Okay. Like you was talking about like the cycle program and stuff. So if somebody wanted to like make a program with like students and stuff, how would they be able to start it? Like how would they be able to gather up students from like houses and stuff to bring together for a bike like
So you're
program?
talking about a bike program like that, where you live at? So explain that, where you live at and how you want to bring the kids out in the neighborhood.
Yeah, like if like where I live at, I would like to bring out like kids where I live and let them join the bike program and stuff. Like how would I do that? How would I be able to do that?
Share something. You live in a different kind of place than I live, so share that. Yours is John McGuire.
Mine, like my where I live is like McGuire, so it is McGuire, but like the students that's like out, like the kids that's out there, like they wouldn't be able, like they wouldn't want to be in it for some reason. I wouldn't know why, but some of them would. But yeah, I can't. Yeah.
That's okay, that's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to?
I have a suggestion
Sure.
to answer your question.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion to answer your question is that rather than, if you know some people that would benefit from a program, why don't you refer them to Akram or other bike programs that you know of so that they can then have the same experience that you've had. Because it's hard to set up a program by yourself, but there's already a program that's running. Obviously it works because you guys have all had good experiences, so tell all your friends and create more. The more people that we have that have done this, the more it will happen.
Yeah. And Nene, I think that's an excellent question actually. And it's a really hard question. It's like how do you get things going? How do you start to change things and start programs and all of that? And in some ways you answered the question, which is there's some kids that would really want to do it, and then there's other kids that you don't know why, but they don't want to yet. I would start with the kids that want to and get together and just start something. And if you need bikes, then you know that, okay, well, the first thing we need is bikes. And then just start building on it. And, you know, I love cliches, actually. So one of the cliches I love is don't reinvent the wheel. So as this gentleman just said, rather than trying to start something all yourself from scratch, it's find the people that are already doing the stuff you want to do and amplify it. So add to it. So if you know kids that are already super excited, those are the ones to go to first. Because then the energy and the enthusiasm is contagious. And then all those people that are like, I don't want to do that, they're going to see how much fun you're having. And then they're going to be like, hey, I want to do that. And then so it can start to grow that way, you know. But amplifying what's already there is a great motto, actually, of the Youth Bike Summit. It's like we don't want to try to create stuff. It's like the stuff already exists. We just have to find it and network it all together and amplify it.
And
Great question.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I think the answer that Jerry and Jane hit on is that you have a voice, right? And you have experiences, and maybe it was tough for you to stand among us today to share that, but you can use that voice that you have and your experiences to convince others and to tell others about it. So really, you have to use your voice. Yeah.
I would like to add on to what Mr. Gary had said, because he said it's like the more you build people, like the more people it is, the funner it is. Because if you just start off with one person, it's gonna be plain, like you're just gonna ride around by yourself. But the more you more people that begins to come with you, like if I'm by myself and I'm riding down a block, and I see my friends with their bikes, but they're not riding with me. So I would be like, hey, come on, guys, let's ride. And they come, with me to ride, it'll be more funner because you don't want to be by yourself, and it like attracts more people.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you, Jonathan. Yes.
We have another last few questions. Amanda from Santa Barbara wants to know if you could visit anywhere by bike, where would you go?
If I would visit anywhere with a bike, I would first go to a place I would never been, which was well, I've been like mostly everywhere, but the main place I would really go is back over Philadelphia to experience like more stuff that I haven't went to. So that's where I would go if I had a bike.
For me, where I would go on a bike would be where I haven't went to yet. I would ride, if I could, I would ride to Hawaii so I could do some hula dances with the ladies, and I would surf. So it would be real fun if I could do that, but I will do it one day.
Design a bike that could ride to Hawaii.
Yeah. All you have to do to ride to Hawaii is actually add more air to your tires, and it should float. When I first invited some of the students up to New York, I told them we were going to New York to the Youth Bike Summit, and they got super excited. And I'm like, great, this is great. And they're like, we're riding there, right? And I'm like, no, we're not. And that was the only time they were not excited about the Youth Bike Summit, is when they were not riding their bikes to New York. But next year, perhaps we can start off a little. Oh wait, we're not riding to Seattle. No, Brian.
I have a question. Are you guys allowed to ride bikes to your school? And if not, would you like to see that change? And what could you do to help change that?
So the question is, are you allowed to ride to your school? And if not, what would you like to do to change that?
Yes, I would ride my bike. Wait.
Are you allowed to ride your bike to school?
No.
No. Okay.
Because what I would do to change it to ride my bike to school would be to convince my mom that I would be very responsible, and I wouldn't just like skip school and just ride to the mall or something. So I would change that because every kid wants to ride. Well, a lot of kids wants to ride their bike to school. I know, because they want to get their energy out before they get in there, because we get in trouble a lot if we try to get our energy out. So we like to get our energy out before school and ride, and that's what I would like to do. So.
Thank you, Jonathan. And Taylor, I have a quick question for you. Do you have any bike racks at your school?
No.
No. Okay.
Can I follow up on that bike rack question? I was over at the Javits Center, which is a rather large convention center, and there's no bicycle rack at the Javits Center. And I contacted a couple of city officials, and I'm not so sure that anything's been done about that yet. That's the bicycle rack comment from the peanut gallery.
So that goes back to the question of, like, since you don't have bike racks and you're not allowed to ride to school, is there something, and we heard from Jonathan, but would you want to do something about that? That was a question from. So you'd want to talk to the principal? Nah. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, yes.
Are you not allowed to ride to school because your parents won't let you, or because the school says nobody's allowed to ride?
So the question is, are you not allowed to ride because of your parents or because of the school? And I think Taylor is really excited to answer.
Really, you is a ride to school. All you gotta do is put your bike somewhere that's safe, because the security guard is not washing your bike. That's the only thing.
Yeah. So do you think there's a safe place to put your bike in the school?
No.
No. Okay. So yeah, that's the answer. Hold on. Treasure, did you have a response to any of that?
No. You just keep telling me.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
He got one.
Oh, Jonathan has a comment. Go ahead, Jonathan.
About the bike rack. Well, we don't have a bike rack, but some people put their bike because we have this entrance and we have like this little ramp for like people if they have
Right.
like a wheelchair. We have a ramp on the side.
Mhm.
They go around, and they go around. And some people put their bikes in the rack, but I don't think it's safe because someone can just walk in and
Right.
just go like run to the bikes and take it.
Right.
So I would try to talk to the principal to get bike racks.
And just very briefly, in our city, it depends on which school. Some schools are more adamant about not being able to ride and will send kids back home if they rode to school. Because they don't want the liability of students getting hurt on the way to school, nor the liability of the bikes being stolen while the kids are in school. So that's just, it's not the first time that that's been said or heard. Okay, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, I was gonna, for the, so there's been like a few issues talking about like safety of parents feeling like the streets, you know, and you kind of got an introduction, safe riding, right? And kind of safety of your property, of the bike being stolen. I'm from Detroit, and I'm sure it's similar where you're from. You know, Jonathan, you were kind of mentioning, like, a lot of kids don't play outside anymore, right? Like, that's just kind of a thing that happens. What do you think, do you think there's anything youth can do to kind of really reclaim the streets, right? Because streets, in our culture, not just youth, all people of all ages, the streets are the view is it's belonged by someone, right? So how could that space, whether the streets or the space outside your school, how do you think youth could kind of reclaim that?
Yeah. So the question is, since the streets are seen as a space belonging to someone, how do you think youth and young people can reclaim the streets as a space for themselves, especially around schools? Is that correct?
Yeah, that sounds sorry. No,
Yeah.
It was kind of a very open question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you mean like how we could change do you mean like how we could change like around our school?
Yeah, or your neighborhood, the street you live on even. Streets in your neighborhood.
How you think it might be more comfortable for you guys to go out and play on?
Yeah. Ooh.
Even not on a bike.
Yeah, just use it.
I think they should have like, in my opinion, I think like they should have like a clearer roads because last time I tried to ride my scooter and my skateboard in the sidewalk of the street, and it was too bumpy, so I fell off. So I think it would be better because we can like run and not trip on any bumps or ride and not trip on any bumps because we'll hurt ourselves, and especially for the cars because they wobble too much and it'll like hurt the tires. And that was my opinion on how. And they should have better environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Nene, you.
We'll tell her story.
Oh, Nene is feeling comfortable now and would love to tell her story. How do you guys feel about that? All right. Come on, Nene. No, Nene does not want her picture up. I hope this helps you learn that perhaps you should smile in pictures instead of try to hide. Then we'll have nicer ones to throw up. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Janaeyah Morton, and I'm 13 years old.
So how did you get involved with the bike program?
How I got involved with the bike program was that we got to go to different places, and it helped me learn more when we went to different places. And the things I learned was that when I ride, like to ride on a bike lane and watch out for the cars and stuff. And also to use the hand signals for when cars are passing by, and the the best part was when we went over the Philadelphia Bridge because at first I was scared to ride over the Philadelphia Bridge because of the cars, and now it had changed me because I could now ride over the Philadelphia Bridge because I know how the cars are going to be on the Philadelphia Bridge and stuff like that.
So what about the cars? Are you riding next to the cars on the bridge, on the Ben Franklin Bridge?
Yeah.
Or are you riding above them?
Well, when you first get on there, you riding next to them, but
Right.
like when you start like going up that hill, you
Right.
like right under them and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's still scary because like when they be riding, like and they be hitting them bumps, like it shake the bridge, and that like get me scared. So yeah, and when the train go underneath and the ride past, it like shakes it like a little bit, so that makes me stop and stuff. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I have a question. When you got to Philadelphia, would you want to go back to Philly, or was there nothing there that you wanted to see?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would like to go back to Philadelphia.
All right. Why? Like, what did you see there that you would want to go visit?
The thing that I saw the reason why I want to go back to Philadelphia was that I would like to experience more stuff over there because like I want to go over there to go like to the to go see the Franklin Institute and all that other stuff. But like I really haven't stayed over there and like actually experienced Philadelphia to like actually stay over there.
Right.
So that's why I would like to go back over there. So does anybody else have any more questions?
Shut down.
Yes, Jamie?
I noticed that the three of you are wearing matching jerseys. You probably have one that you're not wearing maybe. Where, do you like wear them every time that you go to the program, or like what's the story with the jerseys?
Like Coach Crum, we will have to wear them like when we get there, but like if we riding and like we get too hot when we wearing them, he let us take them off. But like other than that, we would have to wear them and stuff.
Yeah. So the jerseys were actually are not given. Hold on 1 second. The jerseys aren't actually given to all the students. We have two minutes left. But one of the things that you want to try to do, especially in these programs, and others have done it way better than I have, are providing incentives. So going out riding is really fun, and they come back with all these stories, but sometimes they want to share something else that they've gotten out of it. So the jerseys, and these aren't the only jerseys that we would be providing. Excuse me?
Can we show them like stand up and show them?
Yeah. Why don't you model? One of you can stand forward and one of you can stand to the back. But the jerseys are actually provided. Fuji. The bikes that we use are actually Fuji hybrids, and Fuji and ASI have been tremendous supporters of the program. So they also provided us with these fantastic jerseys that we give out as gifts to the students after they complete the program. And Jonathan would like to say something.
The jerseys catch a lot of people's attentions because they're like they're cool. Like look, that's a very cool logo. And lady had asked to take a picture of me and Taylor's shirts earlier because she liked the logo, and we get a lot of girls like that. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Taylor and Jonathan. Does anyone have any other questions for Janaeyah? Or would you like to finish?
So have you taken anything you've learned and shared it with your brothers or sisters or any of your other cousins about biking?
So the question is, have you taken what you've learned about biking and shared it with any of your family members, whether it's brothers or sisters or cousins?
Yes.
Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. I had shared it with my brother.
What did you share specifically?
Shared it with my brother, and the thing that I shared with them was that when you riding a bike, like you would have to get like the same exact height of like, oh my God, like the same height, like the same bike height as you, and you would have to stay behind other people, and you would have to follow directions and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
After learning that, did you feel more comfortable riding in the streets?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Mike.
Once you got up and spoke and you felt more comfortable, you did really well. So do you think next time you'll be able to get up a lot easier and talk in front of people?
No, the question is, do you think you'd be able to talk better in front of people next time, since you did such a great job right now?
Yes.
Yes. A woman of few words. Jane loves cliches. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.